Well, good evening everyone and welcome to DRC Tier 2 stream here at, I think it's Season 8 Round 10, the Mexico City Grand Prix, Gran Premio de la Curia de Mexico, around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So hopefully levels are all okay. Hopefully, I'm going to be straight up and honest, some technical issues between streaming Tier 1 and Tier 2. So half my notes are in the bin. If there's any issues with audio, anything, please let me know in the chat. Hopefully, unlike last time, the stream is all up and running. I totally didn't forget to stream qualifying. So getting all the details up here now. Last time out, Spanish Grand Prix, of course. Nothing changed, I don't think, from the stewards. So we still had the race winner being Forza TMC and Alessandro in third. I believe we do have, if I'm double checking everything correctly, well, we'll just wait for some drivers to possibly be leaving the pit box. So we will see a qualification ban from Perryland in the Williams, who is in the session as well. As far as our race winner for last time out makes his way out of the pit lane. The winner of the Spanish Grand Prix in the Alfa Romeo, fantastic turn of pace from Forza, who's decided to make a late charge up the championship field. Definitely one that's surprised a few people. He's got immense turn of pace. He's on 83 points currently with Striker Boy, still our championship leader at 123. Pocket in second, 103. You know, making a charge himself, 102 points. Who I believe has just taken the lead, so he wants to set his lap first. Alessandro 90, who made a late charge on the softs through to the podium. 90 points for him. Forza on 83, as I mentioned, Team C on 80. So we do have a six-way title fight. Depends how much the drivers feel for their chances, but it's not much in it. Only 20 points between second and first, so any race result could put a mix on the grid there. Mexico City, 4.3 kilometer circuit, a powerful main straight and a second helping of DRS, or one detection point out of turn 17. 17 corners, of course, so a technical sector 2 and sector 3. So it'll be a mixture of downforce, we will see, but drivers will want to have a fantastic straight line setup. As we see the DRS not open, hopefully a bug. It is a bug, unless he's late on it. DRS wing open on the Aston Martin, as you know, will be the first to set the lap. Such a long straight. Drivers getting out the way, allowing, you know, down into turn 1. You want to try and stay away from the sausage curves, of course. Easy to ruin your lap, but it's important here. It gets nice and tight, opens up the throttle. Bit of a rear loss on the grip there, as he opens up the DRS here on the second helping the straight, or one detection point, of course, for those two straights, so we can see lots of DRS, lots of overtaking. Again, now this technical section of the track where downforce can help, of course. It's very hard to actually, with the slow speed, get the rotation through the car, but it's important just to make sure you're not sacrificing too much straight line speed. It's such a powerful track, Mexico. It gets nice and wide there through the sector. DRS is going to be open, of course, on this straight. Nice and tight to the sausage curves in sector 3, and heavy braking, probably one of the lowest gears turns aside from Monaco, of course. Through the final corners here, getting early on the throttle, staying as right as you can, opens it up, and we've got 18.2 for the first lap. Any flying laps? I think we have some drivers abandon their laps actually. 18.3 from Kurumi. Alessandro sets a 17.7. Fantastic lap from him. We've got next across the line with Farwaz. The order's all jumbled up, I apologise. So far, Alessandro sets a 17.1. Fantastic lap from him. 17.2 from Cami. Leroy 17.3. So the orders, we're expecting probably mid... Well, actually, no, we should definitely see ourselves going into the 17s, as Striker Boy sets himself a 17.2. Is that Red Bull on a lap there from Tundra or Thunder Fox? I believe Thunder Fox might be on a lap here. He is. We'll see what time he sets to the line. It's a fantastic P1 effort from Thunder Fox. Provisional pole sets a 16.9. Not a Ferrari lap here from Splat Beef. Plenty to do for them if they want to keep a title fight alive for the constructors. Only good enough for a 17.7. 7th place for him. Lots of 7s there. And some new faces as well, I should say. So we've got 17 drivers on the grid. Some new drivers. Itemazar? I'm going to give up. Well, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. If I say anyone's name's wrong, I do apologise, of course. I think we've got an AlphaTauri on a flying lap somewhere. Cami is coming in. Any drivers setting up for a lap, or are they all coming in? Tundra does her lap, sets an 18.7. Plenty of pace to find for some of these drivers, as most will be peeling in as they have set their own laps, of course. Let's see, we do a Ferrari. Anyone not set a time? Let's see for the outlaps. TMC prepping for a lap here. Perryland qualifying ban, of course. So he cannot set a lap. He will be starting at the back of the grid. Infringements, of course, from the last race carrying over. Too many penalty points occurred. I think we do see a Ferrari actually going. So Pockets is going for another run. Right on board with Pockets, of course. He is P2 in the championship on 103 points, 20 points behind Striker Boy, who has struggled lately. Out in Spain, it wasn't fully his fault. He did get caught up in the fight between Perryland and I can't remember who it was now. That sounds terrible. But there was a dramatic fight for the last step of the podium, and Perryland unfortunately did miss out. Sorry, Pocket. Again, like I said, some of my notes have gone in the bin. I didn't know which tier I was prepping for. But it was already on board with pockets of Ferrari, looking mighty fine around this circuit, taking the chicane very well. Very easy to try and cut the curbs and try and gain a lot of time, but it's risky to unsettle the car. Easy to lose the rear end, depending on what setups these drivers have gone for. Each drivers have their own preferences, of course, and they'll probably tweak them throughout the qualifying. I can't remember if Parc Ferme. I think we turned Parc Ferme off. Well, I'll have to double check that one. The drivers will adjust their setups, of course, maybe adjust the front wing as you can, of course. That's a 17.8 from Pockets, respectable time, of course, puts him in the P8, the Ferraris, nice and together. We'll go on course to the Haas cars. Haas pairing, they have decided to run in formation, giving a slipstream to Takimi. We're going to see TMC, who had a fantastic race last time, coming in second. Despite a little bit of a dark horse, always finds himself getting in a decent position, making the charge. Finds himself in fourth. Takimi to the line, and that's only good enough for 15th. Maybe dirty air, maybe he's not got the pace of his teammate. But we're going to see, I think, some other drivers. Mick is yet to come out. I think he actually, I believe, is serving a qualifying ban that he missed from Spain. So Mick and Periland will not be going out. Thunder Fox's time is 16.5. Alessandro second. Cami in third. TMC in fourth. Mercedes, good to see them up the grid. They didn't have too much of a good time. Of course, only one driver this evening. Leroy, the Northern Irish driver, sitting in a respectful sixth. He's on lap currently. Let's see what he can do. If he can improve his time, any pace that he can find. Mercedes, they do have good pace. It's just about turning it into race pace and just staying out of trouble. They've not had a good couple of races. DNFs, I believe, from both drivers in Austria, and the politest way of saying it, not really a result in Spain either. As we're coming through the end of Sector 2 here, very easy to lose a rear. Not sure if there's a bit of loss of grip or maybe a bit of the rev glitch from himself. Again, trying to take a bit wide through there. This could ruin his lap. We'll see if he continues with it. Definitely going to be down on his previous time. And yeah, he's lost 6 tenths there through that sector of the track. You can imagine we'll see him box now. Do we have drivers setting up for a lap? I believe AlphaTauri actually is coming around. Kurumi finishing his lap here. We'll see what he sets. He gains 6 tenths of time and puts himself up into 8th. Of course, some drivers, I believe, are coming around now as well. You know, he will be completing his lap. He's got a lot of time to find, and he gains 2 tenths, puts himself up into 13th. Only good enough for 13th. 18 lap, enough from himself there. Pick up on a flying lap. Farwas is about to set his lap as well. We do have Ferrari flying around the corners here as well. So Splat Beef will be finishing up his lap here. See where that puts him. And no, actually he will be boxing. So that will put us back on board. Please strike all with the first to start setting his lap here. Right, no, we have, of course, Pickle Rick to the line. And that's 6th place, 17.3 from himself. Farwas, I believe, is currently the one on a flying lap. On AlphaTauri coming through here. Kurumi. This is an in lap from himself, I believe. Yeah, nice and slow. So stay on board with Farwas. 2 for 2 so far. Winner of the Austrian Grand Prix and winner of the Spanish Grand Prix. Gave a massive fight to Striker Boy throughout the entire Austrian Grand Prix, and also a fight for most of Spain. Held off a respectable 2-second gap to TMC. Coming through the final corners now here. He'll want to see himself gain a lot of time. He does have good race pace, but it's all about just making sure he can get at the front. If he can make a late title charge, of course, everything's still up for grabs. And that's good enough for second. It's 17 2 hundredths of a second between him and TMC. Yuno has come in. So Striker Boy to the line, sets himself a handy 6.8. Brilliant lap from himself. Pickle Rick coming to the line here. He is boxing. See a Red Bull on track. Is that going to be on the Fox who's in Tundra, who will be finishing his lap here? He'll want to find more time himself. He's looking okay so far. Maybe just lost the track. If he does gain 5 tenths, good enough for 14. See Mercedes here. Leroy is starting a lap. So we'll see what Leroy can do. 6 minutes left in the session. Drivers have set multiple laps, of course. Some of the drivers, I think, have done double out laps as well. And yes, as someone has said in the chat, we do have quali this week. Tier 2 qualifying. Something I thought I'd treat them to. Totally didn't spend 15 minutes rambling on last week and not stream 10 on wide from Leroy. That's going to see him abandon this lap. That's unfortunate for the Mercedes, but he is running in a respectful 8th place, of course. We have an AlphaTauri. Cammy. Oh. Cammy taking, Look, Cammy, we're gonna have words, okay? We've caught that on stream. And I don't condone destruction of property, but Mexico City put on a fantastic Grand Prix. A lot of effort. Leroy does find actually a game here, to be fair. He goes up to 7th, even with running wide and lifting heavily. But Cabby, the Mexico Grand Prix, it's a lovely circuit. You don't need to damage it. You don't need to tear it up, okay? What's that pillar ever done to you? Anyway, enough rambling. So, we've got Haas on an outlap. I believe we have an Alpine on an outlap. Giving way, actually, I believe the Haas. He's making a flyer of an outlap. Yeah, the Alpine just giving way to Takimi. He's got to find a lot of time, of course, into the top 10s. He is just about 8 tenths away. Drivers will be now either wanting the clean air, going out now. They've probably either taken the risk that might invalidate. They might need to run 2 laps. Or they'll be leaving it last minute and waiting for that track evolution as Takimi starts his lap. You'll see the rear wing open soon on that Haas. The drivers should give way. Of course, the Red Bull tucking over to the far right side. Down in turn 1 for Takimi. Avoiding the sausage curves. Throwing the car through these corners. Nice and wide through there. Using as much as the track as possible. Easy to find loads of time and easy to lose it through these sections of the track. They are very technical. Very punishing on the rear tyres if you get too much traction down early. Bit of a wiggle there, but it's not too bad there. See what time he has set or gained through sector 2. Holding those curves impressively as well. The Haas going through these cars. Probably the closest team to their home soil, of course. Unfortunately, he is 2 tenths up on his current lap. Up on Delta, of course. So this is actually slower from him. We'll see if he's abandoning. He will be keeping it. He will have enough time to go again, of course, if he just nurses his tyres round for another outlap. But he won't have time to box, of course. That's no improvement from him, of course. 2 tenths up on his previous time. I don't think they can be an improvement either. We do have McLaren to the line, Alessandro, who's starting his lap. Not quite sure who else is on a flying lap at the moment. I think everyone's setting up for the laps. Red Bull, Ferrari behind him as well. Drivers leaving the pit box. Alessandro, who has fantastic pace, who can find himself in pole position, but he just needs to convert these to race wins. So we can expect a fantastic lap from him. No pressure, of course, as drivers will probably want to make their way through this section of the track. And he spun! And he's out of the session! Alessandro getting greedy on the throttle. And that puts his McLaren out, causing a yellow flag through there. Shouldn't be too bad. I think the drivers think can still go through there all okay. Any laps abandoned? I don't believe so. I think we've got Alpine trying to set up to do another lap, but his battery's flat. He won't be going again. It's Alfa Romeo there further back. Forza's on an outlap. I think he will be the first driver to go for this session. Alessandro is out, so P5 provisionally will be the best he can do. Forza's P4, can he get pole at all? You're going to see him starting a lap now as well. I think the order's just shuffled actually a little bit. What did I miss? Big Pockets have just crossed the line and set a faster time. Pockets did set a faster time, 9th from him. So I do believe Forza still is currently the first. I'm probably going to miss people's laps. I apologise. We will try and keep an eye on the order, but Forza's 30 seconds left of the session, so drivers are not crossing the line soon. There's a bit of a queue there, back there in Sector 3. As Forza here is navigating this technical section of the track. Our race winner last time out, 2 times over. Bit wide through here. See if that's cost him any time. Lovely, lovely red glitch there from the game. Been there now for a while, which Cody's won't talk about it actually, to be fair. Plenty of power through the exit of the chicane. Maybe he can recover something there. He is making good on his time. He is green. Not going to be too much, but it's also not too much of a gap between third place, him and TMC, who is also on a lap. He's just started now as well. Forrest takes the final corners. We're going to see what he can set to the line. Did he gain any time at all? He does, but it's just not enough. It's tight. It's only 100th exactly between those two. We'll see who's coming to the line now. I think Tundra will be finishing his lap here. We'll see what he can do. If he can gain any time here, what can he do? He does, but it's only good enough for 13th. The wrong Alpha Tauri, as we've got Aston Martin of Juno, who crosses the line to set the 17-1. Pockets has finished. Splatfeet's good enough for 12th. Cami, I believe, will be finishing up his lap. Then we do have Leroy behind, who will be finishing up his lap. He's unfortunately fell. And it's a spin from Cami, who's broken his wing. Leroy, did he gain anything through there? Probably distraction. Unfortunately, it's no gain from himself. Striker Boy, can he take pole? He doesn't. We've got Alfred. No, a Haas of Takumi Fox has finished. The Haas of TMC is in third. Any driver still on a flying lap? I don't believe. Takumi takes a checkered flag after the wing break from himself. And that is qualifying over. Crash the moment was camera was on. Yes, exactly. One thing you need to learn is that the commentator will curse you. The commentator will see everything. So that is qualifying over here for Tier 2 at the Mexican Grand Prix Round 10. DRC sponsored, powered by Milestone. Your results for the grid: Thunder Fox in first, impressive lap by the Red Bull driver. Striker Boy, our championship leader, I apologise, up in second. TMC, third place. Fawaz in fourth. Alessandro, Cami, Leroy, Pickle Rick, and Pocket. Rounding out your top 10 items: Splat Beef, Karumi, Tundra, Takimi, Mick, and Perryland qualifying bands. So they could not set types. Nice and sunny day for the qualifying, so we'll see exactly what the race holds. Overcast here actually for the grid, as we're just waiting for the drivers now. We'll see any adjustments in setups from themselves, tire pressures of course as well. They'll be thinking they want to make sure they've got plenty of pace down this main straight. As I mentioned, 2 helpings of DRS down the pit straight and down the second straight. Out of turns 2 and 3, this fantastic exit through the first chicane can help you to either make further overtakes if you're too far back on the DRS, or to just help your lead further. Of course, 1 detection point for that. I think the third out of the wide swooping S's into Sector 3. We're going to see hopefully soon. I wonder if we will get rain. Don't think I've ever seen a wet race at Mexico. Not at least naturally. But the track will be much cooler, as we're going to see the formation lap start here for our drivers. Make sure I just have everything the same. Telemetry, of course, up. We're going to go for the position changes. Just going to check exactly what tyres everyone is on. No hards. No one wants to take that risk off the line. Mediums, of course. A few drivers. It's a very healthy split, actually. We can expect a one-stop. So the medium runners will want to go as long as they can, especially if there ends up being a medium safety car. Might see some hards, but no one likes those tyres at all. So for the position changes. As Thunder Fox takes us around for the formation lap of the Mexican Grand Prix. Mexico City, of course, hosting fantastic races, and it's quite no overtakes really. Sometimes we do see lunges through the harsh chicanes of Sector 2, those 90-degree angles. Can allow drivers side by side. There is a lot of runoff. It is a wide track. You can see Perryland quite far back, of course. Mick is there, but Perryland probably thinking, as long as I don't take too long, I can just make everyone's tyres go fairly cold. Because, of course, with the formation lap, you have to warm up your tyres yourself. We're going to see a lot of brake dragging, where people are on throttle, riding the brakes, trying to get heat into the tyres, into the carcass. Of course, the tyres, if they're cold, especially on the rears, can see some burnout. You don't want to end up on the grid with cold tyres. You are just going to be a sitting duck, especially to the softs. The softs, especially for throwouts. He started on them in Spain. Early safety car took him onto the hards. He stayed on them for the entire race, where Alessandro, who stayed out on mediums, ran the full race distance and went on to the softs. As we're going to see drivers forming up the grid here. Now, we'll see if anyone misses their pit boxes. I think 3 last time out. May as well start a bingo card series for that. Thunder Fox takes up his position. No drivers trying to dare go too aggressively into it, so we're waiting for the last drivers to form up the back of the grid. Perryland arrives here. Mick, plenty of pace for himself. Misses pit box. Mick slots in, and Perryland will slowly approach, and then we'll have our 5 red lights. Here we go at the Mexico Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And we are underway here for the Tier 2 DRC stream on F1. A Striker Boy makes a great getaway down the inside, took it in behind. Forza on the softs has actually gained a position. And their drivers are spreading, trying to hold on to their positions. They're going to be 3 wide for second place. As far as does look at me, there's contact. Striker Boy. Oh no! Oh dear! No! Drivers around. Chaos! Chaos in turn 1 at Mexico. Forza has missed out. Striker Boy Championship leader's lost out. Alessandro is round as well. Has lost out as well. No safety cars. But there was contact at the front. And drivers, unfortunately, going sideways. No room to go round. I said it was quite wide. Drivers blocking off, trying to hold on to their positions. And this has jumbled up the order in ways I cannot say. TMC is looking at a fantastic race if he wants to make a challenge for the title. He's only on 80 points, but a race win here would put him right up the order. Thunder Fox leading with that Red Bull. And we are going to see drivers, I think, coming in. There are end plates missing. Carbon all over the track in lap 1. Alessandro making a dive down here, tucking in behind of the Haas. Thunder Fox takes a checker flag for the first lap to complete. Will anyone be coming into the pit box? Or is everyone going to stick it out? Obviously not too bad. We do see Takimi pitting. The front wing of that car, I think, taking too much punishment. Yeah, the entire end plate there missing. And unfortunately, with the type of track that this is, nice glittery effects here from Haas. If only they put that much effort and budget into their car. Interesting. But at the front of the grid, Thunder Fox leads. TMC in second. Item third. Leroy in fourth. Flat Beef in fifth. Pickle Rick sixth. Pocket seventh. Kurumi in eighth. Mick and Kami wrap up your top 10. Now this is spicy. Drivers with plenty of pace who put themselves at the top have punished themselves. We'll see with this stewards room exactly at the end of the race who's at fault and what's going on here. For Aston Martin, these drivers are both on the mediums. They'll want to work together. They'll want to actually get up the field. Striker Boy Nuno leading the championship for Aston Martin by a healthy amount, so this shouldn't worry about too much for constructors, but for personal standing, both these drivers are fighting for the championship, for the drivers' championship. You can see moves here as Pickle Rick is just seeing off Splat Beef. The Ferrari drivers will be now driving in tandem. Splat Beef getting the slipstream, such a long straight, thinks about it, but just back out. Pockets back there with Rooney. So we're going to see exactly where the drivers are now with the tyres. We did see another stop. Striker Boy, I think, offsetting his pit box. I didn't see if that was a new wing for the Aston Martin, but he is going on to the hards. I imagine damage taken there for him. These drivers come through now. There's more yellows back there. We see Cammy and Forza. That's a... So I won't talk too much on it, but resetting to track. Like I said, the commentator of the stream will catch everything. There was no one behind him, so... you know, let's not talk on it. Alessandro, through the 10th. I honestly, there was so much chaos. I'm trying to remember exactly who got caught up in everything, who ended up further back than they would have wanted to. But this has spiced up the race immensely. I don't think we'll see a safety car at the moment. All drivers have been quite respectful since the chaos. Tundra, as I say that, has spun round and damaged his car, and there will be a safety car! Tundra needs to get out of the way. He can't block the pit lane at all, as we will see drivers now diving in, and unfortunately, as I mentioned, you need to get out of the way. Tundra at the Red Bull, and unfortunately now disqualified from the session, taking too long to get clear of the pit lane, as Forza has now boxed into the hards. Periland onto the hards. We should see drivers coming in. Cammy getting a time penalty. I'm not sure what chaos was there. I think I need to learn to just shut up. Now, the commentator, their job, of course, you know, thanks Michael Owen, cheers Jeff, is to commentate. Captain Obvious there. But the commentator can't do is speculate, because exactly that will happen. Or we won't get a safety car, everyone's been well behaved. And it's cost Tundra participation of this race. Thunderfox still our race leader. We're going to see if anyone has stopped yet. I can expect the drivers should dive in. It's a long pit straight. There's no reason why the drivers can't come in. We'll see Thunderfox boxing. TMC, he'll choose to stay out. Item choosing to come in. And that's a very late decision by TMC. Very late. Item, I can imagine the Alpine stewards are probably going to report that one. Leroy decides to stay on the soft. Thunderfox, of course, came in. Mick staying out. We're going to see a massive jumbling of the order. Team C, of course, who made a very late decision there to actually box. The one dude's engineer was screaming in at the last minute and they weren't sure what to do. And maybe the Haas drivers felt they didn't want to double stack. As we've seen, these drivers, of course, have actually boxed, have changed their tyres. So some drivers deciding that they will stick to their strategy. Leroy staying out on the softs, full lap old softs, Pickerick as well, Mick on the mediums, Alessandro on the mediums. Now, something you want to do as a team, it's all well and good driving in a pair, especially if you have on-track battles, especially if you're trying to fight for positions, fighting for the win especially, as Alessandro will definitely be doing. But Alessandro never boxes under the safety car. Okay, understandable. But Mick should have boxed. One of these two should have boxed. These drivers have now got to offset their strategies somehow. And both of them will want to probably go onto the softs. Alessandro, I think, has more pace than his teammate Mick, so he'll want to clear him as fast as possible. So we'll see if there's team orders there at all as well. Alessandro is in a title fight. He is on 90 points. Only 33 back from Striker Boy. We're just going to wait for the rest of the grid to come through the field. The safety car probably take a few laps to complete here, before the rest of the pack does catch up. So Chaos, the first lap into turn 1. Drivers too wide, defending for their positions, defending for their lives, and costing them everything. Damage, positions. Striker Boy ending up far down the grid. Farwaz down here, Yuno down here as well. Some drivers deciding not to even box to end up and get track position. They feel that might actually be more important than the compounder tyres. Pickle-Rick, Mick, Alessandro, of course, Cammy deciding to stay out. Time penalties for him. Just going to check what penalties they have. 5 seconds for Cammy, 5 seconds for Thunderfox. So these aren't just track limits, I don't think, because that'll be 3 seconds. And so waiting for the rest of the drivers to catch up. And then Chaos as drivers are trying to fight to actually recover from the lost positions. And Tundra too early on the throttle for that long right-hander out of turn 17. Ends up round, breaks his front wing, and either from panic or unsure if there was traffic coming, blocking the pit lane, ends up disqualified from the session. As the drivers near enough all catch up, just waiting on Takimi to catch up to the safety car. I don't think you'll see it come in this lap. Depends on Takimi. But Mercedes 1 and 2 with the safety car. So I think I can say that much to Scrub. Safety car will be coming in. I'm sorry, Scrub, I had to. So Leroy will lead the pack. Pickle-Rick following in behind Mick, Schumacher, Alessandro, and Thunderfox, who did box on to the hards, who was first in qualifying. Of course, we're going to see when Leroy goes. Maintained quite heavy pace here. Pickle-Rick is right on him. The line's there. We have gone. We've crossed the line. Thunderfox has absolutely... Leroy's actually ruined this as Thunderfox flies through. I don't know if drivers forgot where the line was, but absolute chaos here. And there's cars round as well again. Kurumi has found the grass. Not quite sure which driver made contact, and Alessandro's out. He's found the barrier, the exit of the chicanes. And we're going to see another safety car as McLaren needs clearing. Leroy going straight on. He's going to lose those positions because he has left the track. He can't take them back. Brakes overheating or bias or damage, but you've completely missed your braking point. So he's down now in 4th. Maybe he's got damage. He might be struggling here. There is a timing line at the exit of 17. And Leroy completely forgot where it was. A crawl to the line. After you cross the... Of course, with the safety car restarts, there is no overtaking under the safety car. And that remains the same until you cross the timing line, even when the safety car is coming in. Drivers can't be side by side. But once you're in the final straight, once you begin to accelerate your racing, you just can't overtake. But Leroy reaches the timing line and decides to not go. Thunderfox goes, everyone else goes. We're going to see drivers, of course, actually coming in to box and replace their tyres once more. Those that didn't come in. Bit held there from Leroy's. There's probably plenty of traffic. Pockets getting onto the hard compound tyre, changing his wing as well. Perryland changing onto the hards. Mick has come in as well. So drivers changing up their tyres again. May as well kept that stream clip information on. Sorry, Pickle-Rick didn't box. Pickle-Rick's probably thinking, this is too much chaos. I'm just going to stay out. Keep these tyres on. Don't need to go through all the compounds. Either there's going to be another safety car, or he's sticking with the main strategy. So... the order, unfortunately, is now changing even more. Thunderfox, who did qualify on pole, is still leading the race. It could go to the end on these tyres. Does have the 5-second time penalty, which I think he can serve. Let's double check. It is 5 seconds. He can serve that with a pit stop, but he's probably just want to go to the end of the race and serve that on actual times. But he keeps getting safety cars, then it's not going to help him. He'll need to box and want to get rid of it. Alessandro leaves the session, understandable. End up causing sometimes a bit of lag if drivers stay in the session. But we've lost Alessandro through a DNF, finding the barrier. Tundra through the same, but disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I'm lost for words, but chaos. Back to the Mexico City Grand Prix. The stewards probably will be thinking to have a word with the drivers. Maybe think, look, after this, if this is all well and good, Austria was fine. Spain was fine. Some drivers, of course, there will be stewarding decisions. It is racing. It is all fun and games, but people want to win. They want to fight for positions. But safety cars back and back. We've barely had any real racing of 9 laps in. Not one to be proud of. Plenty of excitement, though, if you're watching. Slow pace from Pockets. He has boxed back onto the hards. He'll want to catch up. We'll probably see one more lap of the safety car. We'll take a couple of laps to get the DRS back open. So the drivers who did fairly well are kind of through the pack, as the second lot that didn't box under the first safety car have boxed now. Of course, Leroy, Mick, Cami and Perryland, respectively, the drivers had damage, but they are now on the newest set of tyres. Pickerick, who decided that boxing isn't for him, he's going to take the softs apparently as long as he wants. But this is a mess of an order. Drivers, of course, still have a chance of fighting. In terms of the championship, Aston Martin won't feel hard done by. They are in the points, Black Beef ahead of them, but there's a Ferrari miles out the side of the points in 15th as they're coming through the final sector here. Can imagine the last lap under yellow flags under safety car. Striker Boy is in the points, of course, who's leading our championship. Pocket further down, who was his closest rival, but at the moment, with 1 point behind Pocket in third on 102, is Yuno. He's only 21 points behind. So these team orders between Aston Martin could come and just be thrown in the bin. If Yuno keeps finishing ahead of Striker Boy, what's he going to be thinking? You're leading the championship, but if your own teammate becomes your rival, it all goes into the bin. You can't just say to one another, look, give way to position, do this, work together. It might be nice on the surface, but these drivers, they've got the constructors near enough wrapped up. It all depends on what they feel about it, how much they want to win between each other. Should see a safety car probably coming in this lap as well. Alessandro, unfortunately, out of the session. He was on 90, falling down the order. Barwaz made a late charge, of course, in terms of the championship, both those 2 consecutive wins. It's not out of the question that he can go further up the grid. Safety car will be coming in, so we're going to see how much Thunderfox backs up the pack. He timed it perfectly on the restart. Unfortunately, from Leroy, just forgot where the timing line was, crawled to the line. Safety car peeling in. You want to make sure you maintain your speed. You don't want to go too early, but you can't slow down, you can't speed up. You got to maintain speed. Once you go, that is it. You have gone. So we're going to ride on board a few cars back. We'll see when he goes. I think he has gone now, actually. So Thunderfox is going out of the final corner to start racing again under green conditions. Drivers following through, all spaced out. Might see a move from Juno. He's got the Ferrari nice and close. No one challenging him. Fantastic slipstream and speed from the Aston Martin as they battle side by side. He does clear him. Nice and defensive, takes down the inside, clears a Ferrari, and his teammate in Striker Boy as well. Has Forza for company. Is through there to 7th. Ferrari splitting the Aston Martin. So we do see some positions fighting back here. 3 wide, maybe 2 wide into this corner here. Side by side through the chicanes for Periland and Cammy. Periland misses out and going deep. Mick, can he find anything around the outside? Does run wide and has to settle for that position. And Periland sits in behind. Good bit of move there. Good bit of driving. Thunderfox completely driving away with it, setting a 1.2 second gap back to TMC, who could not stay with him. He was shocked that he went so early, straight out of the final chicanes. He didn't expect it, couldn't stay close at all. You know who profited. He went straight away, managed to get Splat Beef. And we imagine Striker Boy wants to stay with him and get the position done as well as these drivers over the chicane and off track here from Mick. Pockets wants to make sure he gets a good position. Ferrari still fighting Mick. Unfortunately, a bit of oversteer, losing out. There's the drivers come through the final few corners. Racing at the back, of course, the amount of drivers that we've lost. There is plenty of points here available. Mick, I think, getting damage. So he will be boxing there. Thunderfox still leading the race. I think there was a move there. Item possibly defending off from Uno. No DRS just yet. Item eyeing up the move for Pickle Rick. Striker Boy dispatching the Ferrari. So now he is up to his teammate who won't just want to give that position away. Plenty of fighting back here as well. Can Pockets make a move around the outside? He can. Can he hold on to the position? He does. There's a bit of contact back there between Cammy and Takimi. The Pockets is through now to 12th as Thunderfox 1.4 seconds. Nice gap between him. Can TMC hold on to it? Make any push to get into the DRS? As Uno and his teammate, the Aston Martin pair now wanting to drive in formation, but Uno will not give up the position at all at any point. Item in 4th, Pickle Rick in 3rd. Aging softs, but his strategy, of course, will be going on to the mediums later on to make a charge through the field as DRS is enabled, but we won't see it until the next straight. Brilliant slipstream by Uno, must be running less downforce than anyone else as he's charging, and Pickle Rick's battery is blinking to defend. Side by side through the chicane. Can the Aston Martin hold on to it? It will go outside on this corner. He's still there. Touches the curb, but nicely defended off by Item. Brilliant defending there. As the Aston Martin's eyeing up this move. Uno defending from Striker Boy, who does make the move down the inside. Side by side, the teammates. And Striker Boy has to slot in behind. He can't make the move at all. Pickle Rick with his teammate as well, Farwaz, who is on the new tyres, does get through. And the Ferrari now eyeing up that Alfa Romeo. So Uno does keep his teammate behind. Striker Boy on all the tyres, of course. Teammates, but championship rivals now. Farwaz on the newer tyres than Striker Boy. Those might come into fruition. Does have a look down the inside through that tight corner, through that tight left-hander. Final few corners, we'll see now with the DRS to Striker Boy. He does have a lose a bit of the back end there, trying to stay with him. That's compromised him to Farwaz, but the straight line speed that the Aston Martins are running is crazy. Uno cannot defend this down the main straight. Farwaz might even have a go. Too far back, possibly. The Aston Martins must be running some, well, non-existent rear wing. As I mentioned, it's important, but he does get a fantastic switchback. DRS, of course, on that Alfa Romeo as well. Still there, Uno trying to hang on down the inside. Squeezes out a bit of contact there between Farwaz and Uno. Won't be feeling too happy, lack of respect there. Kurumi and Pickle Rick side by side. Kurumi losing out, too much, not enough track there for him to slot in behind. But does Pickle Rick find a way through? He needs to get rid of these softs at some point. Of course, the softs offering more grip than the hard compound of tyres as Leroy goes off. 6-lap-old mediums and they are struggling. Mercedes just must be... I'm not sure whether they're doing something with their setups or driving, but they are not maintaining their condition of tyres at all. And that looked very slow through there as they must have been squeezed out. Pockets and Kurumi fighting for the last points paying positions on the grid. Farwas, of course, cleared Yuno, who's now on the back of Striker Boy. He's probably getting sick of seeing that car. The amount they've been fighting for Spain and Mexico. I thought there was a bit of a slow on the track telemetry there for Kurumi and Pickle Rick. Thought there was a bit of chaos. Thought they may be fighting a bit too harsh. Ferrari and the Mercedes going into this one, possibly side by side as Pockets can look for a move. Leroy thought about it on Pickle Rick as well, did back out. And we're going to see a DRS train possibly forming now as well. The dirty air costing these tyres, costing these drivers plenty of time through these sectors. But with the amount of DRS there is, I can imagine the drivers are going to be swapping places a lot. Farwas did make his way past Striker Boy, which unfortunately did miss. Mitch Schumacher sets the fastest time of 1:20. Striker Boy passed Yuno as well. But Farwas setting a bit of a gap there. 1.7, 1.8 to Striker Boy. So possibly a bit of an issue there between the Aston Martin drivers. Item, a fantastic drive as well by him. Qualifying further down the grid, but he's gained 8 places and currently in a podium position. Pickerick now deciding that these softs have had enough. It's time to get rid of them. See possibly a move here from Cami on the rear end, on the gearbox of that Ferrari, side by side into turn 1. Who's later on the brakes? Cami does take it round the outside. The Ferrari is still there. Mick gets a time penalty and he's over the curve. Bit too deep from Cami, and the Ferrari of Pocket says see you later, and he takes that position back. Too hot on the brakes for Cami. He couldn't hold on to that move at all, and he's cost him. He's further back down now, just outside of DRS range going through these sectors. So he'll want to try and hang on to it to make sure he stays and has another go later on into the race, of course. The Aston Martin drivers, both on the hard compounds of tyres, both tyres roughly the same age. Yuno's, I think, were a lap fresher. But these drivers, this will suit Yuno very nicely. They have swapped places again. They're probably going to do that a lot down the DRS straights. There'll be plenty of time to fight, though, during this race between them both. Plenty of time to actually get the elbows out. But for now, Aston Martin, they've made their pit strategy. They've gone with the safety cars. They probably just want to run in formation, overtake on the straights as and when, because they will be swapping positions every now and again. The DRS wide open as we see a train forming. Will he think about a move? Does back out. Bit sensible. Trying to keep Yuno honest, seeing if he can coax you into any mistakes, but you don't want to cost your team too much, of course. And Cami does get past the Ferrari of Pockets, and this time does avoid that curb and manages to keep the move. We will have DRS on Leroy, who was running a decent enough race, is now down in 10th. Drivers, of course, found themselves swapping positions quite crazily between the safety car and the chaos at turn 1, lap 1. Someone definitely will need to clip that. I wanted to stay on board with someone, but I was thinking they were so wide, everyone getting the shoulders out, no one allowing anyone any room through the sector, through the first down the main straight. The amount of slipstream that is offered, it's the amount of speed the cars gain, especially off the straight. Bit of touching there between Splatbeef and Striker Boy. But the drivers didn't want to lose out. They wanted to try and win the race on the first lap. And some of the drivers have paid a heavy price for that. It's a decent enough exit by Periband. DRS is open, of course, on this train. But that slipstream, he's so close to the gearbox on that Ferrari. As Striker Boy makes a move down on his teammate. Striker Boy headlocks up heavily. Does keep it on track. The Aston Martin's taking evasive action, maybe contacting on each other as well. Parryland had to slam on the brakes, as we do have the Mercedes of Leroy retiring in the pit lane. I thought he'd crashed out on the main straight. So we won't see a safety car for that at all. The Williams. Late dive down the inside. Panicking, probably too late on the brakes, realizing he tried to get the move done, and you know. He's made the move on Striker Boy as well. They didn't make contact. He kept it on track, and he's made the positions. He's made 2 overtakes down into turn 1. Do you see a caution? As Leroy's car is just rejoining the grid, it'll probably pull over in a moment to one side to properly retire. The fact that you can't retire in the pit lane is questionable. They really need to sort it out. The Fonda Fox, who qualified P1, is our race leader, who will be coming up to the retiring Mercedes of Leroy. Who unfortunately now have lost 3 drivers in this race. Since Blackbeef was thinking about the move, but this Aston Martin pair of Yuno and Striker Boy, questions must be asked at themselves and at other teams, because they must feel frustrated and hard done by. Perryland, who actually now has a 1.2 second gap, so he's not going to be suffering the effect of having to defend against anyone who has DRS. Fawaz, who qualified in 4th, running in 4th. Let's just double check the tyres now. So coming through roughly halfway through this race. Drivers, of course, some box onto fresher compounds of tyres with Pickle, Takimi and Mick. They're not too far back respectively, of course, Pickle and Takimi, but it just depends how long can these hards last for. We did see in Spain a late pit stop strategy from drivers did bring them into contention. As far as a bit too much to ask to probably win this race. Fonda Fox sets a fantastic example of just getting the setup right, getting the tactics right, getting everything perfect, qualifying fine, boxing under the first safety car, no messing around. I can't remember the second one, but he has done a fantastic drive so far. He does have the 5-second time penalty, which could get removed depending on how it was incurred. But I'll be for the stewards to the side. TMC from 3rd into 2nd. Podium position for himself. We do see some positions changing, of course, back here. The Ferrari splitting the Aston Martin's Splatbeef up into 2nd. He'll be wanting to try and get further up the grid, getting plenty of points for his team. But if Perryland can hold on to this, just look after himself, maintain that gap. We'll see if he can close up the Fawaz at all. But 12 positions gained, and he's got a healthy amount of points he can score here. Pockets has caught up to the AlphaTauri pair. You see yellows here. If Fawaz maybe making a mistake, Item is now on the back of him. And he's gone deep. He's completely missed his braking point. He's actually lost a wing. It's Item that's lost out. Fawaz is up into a podium. Completely missed when the Alpine got damaged. And that is unfortunate. We'll see the French car pulling into the pit box here to get a replacement, to get a new wing. He'll probably want to throw onto the soft compound of tyres and see if he can make any headway back into the race, back into the points. Chooses to go for the mediums. And that new wing change on that car is disappointing. As Striker Boy makes his way past Fawaz as well. Don't think these cars got tangled up at all, so it must have just been a mistake from Item. Unfortunately now is just outside the point. It's not too far back for him to try and climb back up. Perryland is through the 3rd. So the audacious move to dive down the inside has put him into a podium. If Perryland gets a podium from this, for the driver interview, I need to ask him about that dive down the inside on both Aston Martins. Who right now still have a chance of scoring plenty of points. But Fawaz will probably want to make more positions, get some more headway. We'll see if TMC as well can close the gap onto Fonda Fox, but that gap is slowly climbing. Fonda Fox will be conscious that that 5-second time penalty will, if it can't get removed, he does want to try and make sure he can get that gap and actually make sure he wins the race. It's still a fantastic drive by the Red Bull. And Striker Boy will have to defend this. He won't have DRS from that Williams. And Farwaz, the rear wing open on the Alfa Romeo. Striker Boy and Farwaz once again fighting down into turn 1. We've seen this quite a few times at Austria. We've seen this at Spain. Different strategies, different races from both of them constantly throughout the 3 races. But they find themselves again on track together. I'm not sure on the mathematics where Farwaz needs to finish each race, but it's not out of the question that he can bring himself into this title fight. If Striker Boy keeps finishing below his rivals, he's only going to just drop down the order more and more. Pockets has cleared one of the AlphaTauris, so he does have Karumi now to get through, and then he'll be up with his teammate Splatbeef, who is eyeing up the Aston Martins just outside of his reach, just outside of DRS. Yuno as well has fallen back. As we're going to see Farwaz and Striker Boy. Now our main fight, I believe, through the rest of the race. For the rest of these 13 laps. Only Mick with the time penalty. Thunder Fox, I think, just served it. So Thunder Fox serving his 5-second time penalty and has gone into the mediums. 13 laps on the mediums. Very healthy for them to do, but doesn't feel the hards are going to get to the end of the race. 13 laps less to go. It's a long wait for the hards. But we could have seen some soft compounds, unfortunately. Item setting a fastest lap. He's got to make a charge through the field after damaging his wing. Could still score points here, of course, as Pockets gets past Thunder Fox, who was just leaving the pit lane. Thunder Fox now must be thinking he's come out in a bit of traffic. Not ideal. And he's going to be stuck behind these cars for quite a while, but they are on aging tyres, and he does have the more grippy, the more softer medium compound to try and make these moves and get these moves done. He'll want to charge through the field and make sure, we'll see how far he can get, but there's a lot of work to do. Plenty of time. Thunderfox 25 seconds back, of course. It might be too much to ask to get the move done, but he's going for it, side by side with the Ferrari. Nicely done dispatching him, and he's going to want to get through these AlphaTauris as well. The customer team, the sister team of the Red Bull. It's a bit of contact there side by side. It was very audacious out of the chicane. We'll have the better grip through here. We'll have the DRS. Which unfortunately the other car does not have, and he is going to be through. He'll have a second helping of it as well. Down out the main straight and down through the second straight as he makes the charge in the 7th, and he'll be wanting to get 6th as well. Elsewhere, Splatbeef, you know, of course, these two together fight for 4th as Farwaz is slowly gaining onto Perryland. Trying to make sure I follow on with the fights closely. Yeah, I apologise. A bit of a mess. As I said at the start, wasn't quite sure which tier I would end up be streaming. Good English. We're managing so far. It's still early into the evening. So AlphaTauri driving together this time once again, like they did in Spain. It's further up the leaderboard and getting plenty of point potential there. Thunderfox cleared both of them. Of course, he's now wanting to make a charge to catch up to Splatbeef, who is keeping Yuno honest. As we're going to see through the exit of the final corner, the Ferrari is fairly close. The Aston Martin struggling a little bit. Pockets picking up a time penalty, unfortunately, for track limits. And the rear wing of that Ferrari wide open, gaining slowly. The battery being drained from the ERS as Yuno's trying to hold on to this position. Splatbeef late on the brakes, does hang on to the inside. Yuno coming a little bit deep to compromise his exit, but that set it up nicely for Splatbeef, who just opens up the throttle. DRS now open on this Ferrari. Will he want to get the move done here? He's looking down the inside, side by side. Here they go. And he just backs out. Just hang a wheel in there. Does think about a switch back. Just has to settle in for 5th so far, but this is costing them as Thunderfox is making his charge back up the field. He'll be on the back of them. He is on the back of them. 8 attempts now. He will be in the DRS and he'll be wanting to get through them both to make his charge back up the field. And we see close here, Forza looking down the inside of Perryland. Thinks twice about it and backs out. He will have the move to do down the pit straight, of course. Thunderfox dispatching the Ferrari probably not expecting the move, and Thunderfox aggressive here from him. Realizing maybe he got held up more than he wanted to when he pitted. Could have pitted a little bit later probably to actually do a faster in-lap, but he's right on the tail of Yuno, who has no answer for the grip that Thunderfox has. The Red Bull dispatching him, the rear wing open. He's going to have that for both straights. Yuno's a sitting duck here, I think. Will Splatbeef getting at all too far back? But Thunderfox, that Red Bull is on a charge. He's in 4th place, qualified in 1st, rear wing again, of course, the double helping of DRS. He is clear through 1.2 seconds. And Perryland and Farwaz will be fighting this one out. This is only going to help Thunderfox. He's going to have one eye on the times, one eye on the interval. He's going to be looking and thinking, how much pace do I need to find? 10 laps left. He's only 3.5 seconds back. He's only about 15 seconds back from TMC. Maybe too much to ask to find a second and a half a lap to get TMC, who is now holding on to the win. Our leader currently of this race. On 22 lap old hards, no less. Farwaz the same. Some drivers now deciding they need to stick out. 9 laps left. It's probably too late to throw on the softs. There won't be enough benefit. You won't see the difference. As Thunderfox sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:19.1, just showing the pace he has. As Yuno decides now is the time. As I mentioned, the hards, they are being punished to go on to the mediums actually for him. Not the soft compound tyre. Maybe feeling the softs don't offer the time that they can. As we see Karumi coming in as well. The softs going on to that AlphaTauri. As the order will now jumble up. As Pockets dispatches item, I believe, and Striker Boy down in 9th. So the Alpha Aston Martin team need to probably get a move on to score plenty more points. Ferrari running pretty in 5th and 7th. A good drive from them this afternoon, but a fantastic drive from Thunderfox, who is 1.9 seconds back from Farwaz and Perryland. Just look after these tyres. Don't burn them up too much. Just do your own race. You don't need to panic too much. Those hards will drop off quite heavily. Farwaz keeping Perryland honest, making these tight corners, trying to stay as close as possible. Perryland struggling a little bit here. Farwaz will, of course, the tyres from both these cars very old, 20 plus laps on these tyres. They've gone nearly the full race. Farwaz is nice and close. Thunderfox nice and close as well. The rear wing open on that Alfa Romeo, getting a bit of gap to the Red Bull with the slipstream. He's going to make this move down into turn 1. He gets the move done. Nice and clean. Thunderfox will now be looking at these two drivers fighting away and wanting to actually make a move. Doesn't want to burn up his battery too much. As we see Striker Boy and Splatbeef, of course, changing positions. There's a bit of a fight here as well. Bit of contact, I think, maybe just then. It was just on behind the timing screen. Probably one to adjust for next race. Doesn't need to be as big. Thunderfox looking at the back of these two cars, of course. We'll see what the mediums can do versus these old hards through these slow S's. Quite high speed S's. The power of these cars, of course. Bottoming out a little bit there. Battery being deployed. Thinks twice about a move. We'll see how close he can stay moving into this sector, of course. Back of that Williams, bit deep from him. This is only holding up Thunderfox. Of course, defending for dear life. Every point matters. And he has a fantastic exit there. The slipstream might just be too much for the Williams as he does pull out. But unfortunately, both drivers have fantastic speed on Farwaz, who misses out massively. Thunderfox squeezes out Farwaz a little bit just to make sure he gets that move. He is up into the podium place of 3rd. This is for the last step of the podium, of course. And for the second step, if Perryland can just hold on to it, both these drivers have DRS, only leaving Farwaz further back. And we got a bit of a fight here between the Alpine and Striker Boy. So Aston Martin, who were running in a decent enough position, probably thinking they might have wanted to offset their strategies sooner. Striker Boy through up into 6th. A good drive from him. He will get plenty of points. Splatbeef in 5th. Farwaz 4th, who is with this fight for 2nd place. TMC 15-second gap still to 1st. A good drive from him. And the grip on that Red Bull dispatches Perryland without any difficulty, but there will be DRS down the main straight. We'll see how much he can get an exit through the final corner, of course. But I was probably thinking if he can get a move here, but Perryland will have the DRS from the Red Bull of Thunderfox, who now has broken 8/10 gap, pulling over a little bit to the right to try and break any slipstream that can be gained for any car. But a second helping of DRS will probably make it a bit too much to defend, as down the inside, Perryland thinks about the move and does back out. Burning up his battery though, Thunderfox, to try and make that move. But you can just see the grip that those mediums have. Every corner eking away more time. Now 7/10. Farwaz has dropped back to a 2nd. He can't maintain this at all. He couldn't stay with him down the straight. Thunderfox now probably wants to burn up any last of the battery. He wants to extend his gap. He doesn't want to be fighting and defending from these drivers. He wants to be securing 2nd place. He had a 1st place drive. We'll see if TMC can hold on to the tyres at all, but it might be too much to ask. 13 seconds now. 13.8, Mick Schumacher picking up more penalties. 1.2, 1.3, the gap between Thunderfox and Perryland, as Thunderfox now begins his charge. 6 laps. Roughly about 1.6 seconds a lap charge Thunderfox will need to do to catch TMC, who's had a fantastic drive. He'll be looking after these tyres. He's committed now. He can't box. He's in 1st place. 12.8. He's just going to be watching that time, looking after his battery, maybe a little bit of bursts on exits he feels he makes mistakes on, but he's aging tyres. 26 lap old hards. Punishing. Must be driving on ice at certain sections. We're going to see how the car behaves through this section. Just while I think there's no battles particularly on track. Taking it nice and easy. Doesn't dare go too wide. Getting onto the dirty track. Dirty off-track section. Too much rubble. Too much marble, over there. Doesn't dare cut the corners either too much. Nursing it round these corners. Very smooth driving from TMC. However, the gap is closing. The gap is coming down 11.6 with 5 laps to go. And you can see the difference in the tyres. You can see the difference in the grip. Thunderfox able to be more confident through that chicane, through the S's, and charge through. Of course, we still do have a fight for the podium. Perryland and Farwaz together. These two have been at it for most of the race. Pretty much since, I believe, the restart under the 2nd safety car. Let's see if Farwaz can make a move at all. Nice and narrow, the angle. Gets the wheel straight. Doesn't want the slipstream. Decides now to go for it because of the straight line speed of that Williams. DRS open on the Alfa Romeo. As they're going to be side by side. And that is some straight line speed from the Mercedes-powered Williams. Doesn't even have DRS, but he made Farwaz burn quite heavily, who cuts across sharply to get the move done. He will have the 2nd helping of DRS, of course, down this straight, but that was a fantastic move by him. As Item closes up to the back of Splatbeef, there are other drivers on this track. We will, of course, now go to them, but there was such a charge by Thunderfox in the Red Bull, who's now closed up to 10 seconds. It might be too much to ask, but we'll keep an eye on it there. You know, in 9th, of course, the pockets 1 and 2 with his teammate, but he does have a time penalty, of course, and Splatbeef has Item on his hands as well. Bit of a wiggle there from Juno, looking at the move, looking at the back of that Ferrari, but a fantastic switch back. Can they go side by side through here? Into Sector 3. squeezing the Ferrari, compromised on the inside. That was a fantastic move by Yuno, and he does get clear of Pockets, who now has Pickle Rick. Doesn't have Pickle Rick, he's too far back. Pockets sliding around a little bit. Of course, these drivers all on different tyres, all on different strategies. And TMC has actually caught up to his teammate. So we'll see blue flags here. Actually, Takimi has got out of the way. Nice and respectful. Wonder if he gave him any slipstream, but it ain't mattering too much, as 9.7 seconds is the gap. As far as Periland on the final step of the podium for the fight with 3 laps to go. Striker Boy down in 6th, Item in 5th, of course. I think that might have been a bit of a mistake. I thought there was a fight there from them, but Splat Beef has dropped away. Pockets 1.3 seconds back behind Yuno, who will have Pickle Rick on him. So Pockets struggling, I think, for straight line speed, even with the helping of that DRS. And AlphaTauri driving in formation, back 11th and 12th. Both on the soft compound tyres. Bit of healthy racing between these two. There won't be any points scored between them both unless anything happens towards the end of the race. But there's nothing promised. There's no sense of security or safety, I suppose, with the chaos that's happened around this race. 8.9 now, the gap between Thunderfox and TMC does come down, but the tyres on the mediums, unfortunately, won't be able to catch him. I think we see a move by the Williams. The charge, the straight line speed. It's just something else. Fawaz cannot defend that. And look at the rocket ship of Periland. 5 tenths, near enough by the end of the straight. And if you're Fawaz, you must be thinking, how are you going to get ahead? How are you going to stay ahead if the Williams has that much pace, that much speed? In terms of the championship, of course, Striker Boy will be scoring points. Fawaz will continue to climb a little bit, closing out the gap. But there is still 40 between them, roughly. TMC is on 80, so roughly, again, 40-odd points. But TMC will be scoring 25 points if he manages to hold on to the tyres and hold on to this gap. So he'll be scoring plenty of points, of course. I think TMC is struggling, actually. Is really struggling. Takimi is with him, but he won't dare overtake him, of course. I can't imagine you'll want to overtake your teammate when he is fighting for the win, fighting to hold on to those tyres. And Periland and Fawaz are fighting for the last step of the podium, as Fawaz might be close enough to try and get a move done, struggling on the exit. The rear's not having the grip that they need to go through that section, and even without DRS, just dumping the battery each straight. Periland is just... It's crazy, that rocket ship of a Williams. I know Williams are notoriously known for straight line speed. I know Periland likes his low downforce setups. But how he's looking after these tyres, how he's nursing them with the lack of downforce, is something else. Splat Beef down in 7th and 8th. So 1 lap remaining, of course. TMC, comfortable 6.3 seconds. Up in 1st, Thunderfox in 2nd. Tried to make the charge through the field. He couldn't make it work, being held up too much in traffic. Periland and Fawaz fighting for the last step of the podium, as Striker Boy and Item make up 5th and 6th. And Splat Beef fighting there. And Pickle Pockets in 10th and 9th respectively. Just going to double check the penalties everyone has, as we can understand where everyone will be going into the end of this race. Pockets comfortably in the last points playing position. He could, if it gets removed, he could be getting Pickle at all. And Mick with 9 seconds. Too far down the order, of course, unfortunately. So we're entering the final lap of the race. Takimi not overtaking TMC, of course. He's done his job. He's looked after his tyres. As long as no punctures, nothing crazy happens. Fawaz needs to get the move done down these straights if he wants to get the chance of 3rd place at the podium. Periland has burned the battery. Later on the brakes, higher on the downforce. The Alfa Romeo trying it down the inside. Side-by-side touch, make a little bit of contact, need to leave the room. He has. They're side-by-side on the exit. The Alfa Romeo will have the rear wing open, and he clears Periland, who might be struggling with the grip. We'll see if he can at all gain anything back. Fowler's ERS wasn't blinking. It means he wasn't below 10%. He is now. He burned it through that final sector to get clear. Perryland 9/10 back now, dropping a risk of dropping out of DRS. He has now done that. It might be too much to ask now. Fowler's waited, bided his time, got the move done. And those low wings of Perryland now can have no answer to him, as Fowler has cleared him and he's up into third for the final points of the podium as TMC takes the final corner and comes home to win the Mexico Grand Prix. Thunderfox in second and Fowler in third place. A fantastic late move on Perryland, coming home for third place here. Perryland, who tried to hold on and fight for fourth. Striker Boy in fifth. Item, I think with his time penalty, still, yeah, so he should still finish in sixth. We're going to see Yuno crossing the line as well. Any late battles here? Of course, I think Pickle Rick Pockets too far back on Pickle Rick. Splatby, Pickle Rick, and Pockets cross the line. And that rounds out your top 10. TMC, Thunderfox, Fowler, Perryland, Striker Boy, Item, Yuno, Splatby, Pickle Rick, Pockets, your top 10. As Kami and Karumi should not be teammates. That is too much of a tongue twister. A fantastic drive though by TMC, looking after his tyres, getting the moves done when he needed to, of course. Playing it smart with the safety car. Thunderfox trying the late charge through the field, didn't quite pay off, maybe battling too much, burning up his tyres. And Fowler's dispatching the rocket ship of Perryland on the final lap, using his ERS very well through the final sectors. For your race winner, TMC at the Mexico Grand Prix. We're going to try and see, of course, if we can get anyone onto the grid. Perryland, a fantastic result, who did make a very, very bold dive down the inside of both Aston Martins, no doubt. Let's try and see if we can get both drivers into the commentary room at all. And there is your podium, of course. It is a fantastic drive by TMC. He's had brilliant drives looking after himself, not being in too much of, not getting too many scraps. So it's a fantastic result by him. Podiums consistently, I believe. Podium in Austria, podium in Spain, but now does, of course, have that race win. So TMC, Farwaz. We're also going to try and see if we can get Thunderfox as well. But that is your race-winning order. TMC in the Haas in first. Thunderfox, who qualified on pole, trying to make the two-stop work. Unfortunately, not able to charge through the field, but does get the fastest lap, so gets an extra point. Farwaz in third. Perryland fourth. Striker Boy in fifth. Sixth is Item, Splat Beef in eighth. Pickerick ninth. And Pocket rounding out your top 10. Kami and Karumi, the AlphaTauri pair, 11th and 12th. Mick in 13th. 14th. Takimi, who unfortunately was one lap down, and Leroy, Alessandro, and Trunja, your DNFs for this evening, unfortunately. What a fantastic race. Jesus, okay. Can breathe a little bit now. Chaos from the start. Bit of a fights going on throughout the grid, so I tried to make sure I did catch everyone, of course. Tier 2 always offering up some surprises. I think we do have both drivers here. So we're going to get our third place finisher, Farwaz, onto the comms box room now for an interview here.
Hello.
Hello, Farwaz. How are you doing? That's a fantastic drive by you. Fighting a little bit.
It was terrible, bro.
You were fourth. You got third. How can you feel that's terrible?
Bro, I got the Windows notification middle of the screen, so I lost 2 positions because of that. Then I got the incident in lap 1. I don't know, man. It was not a great race. I could have won this race if those shits didn't happen, but it is what it is.
You did end up quite down the order. What happened in lap 1? Drivers getting their elbows out, defending a bit hard. You were caught up in that a little bit.
I don't know. I was outside, so there was no way I could whoever was it, the striker boy take me out, but he was staying a bit to the right. He didn't saw me there, so in the corner that you go left, he was staying to the right. That's weird, I know, but he took me and himself out, and because of that, I got way back on the grid, way back. So I had a recovery drive going on. That was happened.
Did you? Which is it? The first safety car or the second one you boxed under? I can't remember because those hards were aging.
Bro, it was the first one.
Were you thinking
first
maybe onto the second one, like you've rolled the dice, you've committed now? Were you thinking at any point to make it a double stop, or did you just think these hards are me to the end?
Yeah, I think it would be better if I took a second stop because I saw Striker Boy coming fast and I had the confidence that I had the pace. But I'm not disappointed with my decision. It was both a good decision.
You have
If I
gained
do,
more points on Striker Boy. You are
yeah,
climbing up that table.
yeah, it could be more if he didn't take us out. So,
I
but
have to
I
ask.
know
Oh, sorry. Go
I
on.
know it was not intentional. So
Yeah, I have to ask though. Perryland, without the
yeah,
DRS, was making you look like a snail. Were you worried you wouldn't get the move done on the final lap?
I was using all my ERS I got left, bro. 40% to back to 0. Oh my god. Grateful that I saved some ERS there. But whoa, it was terrible, man. I was sweating that whole last part. But these things would not have happened if I didn't have the Windows notification. But still sad about that. Man, I should have pressed the button. But yeah.
Well, you heard it here first from Fawaz, and this is his own opinions. Don't buy Windows.
Yeah, never do it. Oh my god.
No, it is a good drive. You've qualified fourth, and you've ended up in third place. So you're on the podium. You got plenty of points. Are you feeling excited at all for the rest of the rounds? Of course, you've only got a couple of races left. Qatar next week. How are you feeling for that? Are you good around that track?
Ooh, I'm great on the track, but the track limits may fuck me up. So I don't know. I gotta see what how it's going to be. But I also always trying my best. Hope a podium too.
And the final race the weekend after, Suzuka. Are you going to be there for that?
Of course, bro. Of course. I know that circuit very well with Wild and Wild, so it will be great.
You were 20 points behind going into this race. Of course, when the stewards look at everything, and I can't do the math on the spot right now. Yeah, you were only 40 points behind, but a couple of race wins as well on top of that, and some poor results might change it. Are you thinking about the championship at all?
No, bro.
No.
No, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just trying to get in the top 3. That would be great. But no, the championship is way far ahead. So
No, so well, you're 3 for 3. You're on the podium each time. 2 race wins and a third place finish today. It's a fantastic drive, and thank you very much.
yes, thank you very much. Bye bye.
We are going to get our second place finisher up onto the podium here in Thunderfox. Thunderfox, how are you feeling? Fantastic drive by yourself. Qualified well, and you made a late charge through the field. You tried to get up into first, just couldn't make it stick. What happened there? Were you feeling the tyres couldn't get the full distance?
First of all, thank you and congrats to for us, and also TMC. Most importantly, TMC. I think he drove one hell of a race on those hards. Really, I just couldn't catch up. I had let's just say I had enough pace probably, but I underestimated how difficult it was gonna be to kind of charge through the pack, and I gobbled up quite a bit and just didn't, let's say, ran out of time. Maybe a couple more laps and I would have made it, but it wasn't enough. And again, congrats to TMC for driving really solid race on those hards.
So at that point, you were feeling like obviously the lack of grip. Maybe the second stop was the way. The extra stop was the way to go. Did you think about the softs at all? Did you think it was maybe too far? It was about 16. I can't remember. Was it 13 laps when you boxed?
Yeah, to be honest, I was really undecided. Mostly between mediums and softs. I had thought for a split second on not stopping at all, like TMC did, but yeah, in the end, I kind of decided to go for it, and I thought mediums were gonna be more consistent. But who knows? Hard to say, but I'm still quite happy. Got the fastest lap also, so good race overall, good quality, and also finally a clean race for me.
It's brilliant. Extra point there, of course. And when you did box, you came out behind two slow cars and old hards fighting and giving you no room. Were you trying to get ahead of them when you saw? I saw you sprinting down the ERS burning, and you just had to tuck in behind. Unfortunately, were you trying to time that gap? Were you aware of those two cars when you boxed at all?
No, to be honest, as I said before, I didn't think too much on like how many cars he would have had to overtake. So that was probably I kind of underestimated with the 5 second that I had to recover at the stop. So yeah, I ended up having to kind of overtake, I don't know, 5, maybe 6 cars. I don't remember. Yeah, and that's where like I just tried sort of to push as much as I could in the straights, knowing that I had a decent straight line speed. But some drivers were really tricky to overtake, even on older tires.
There you go. It was a fantastic race to watch them charge through the field. You had plenty of pace. It's close. Unfortunately, they did drop off, and TMC did hold on to it. But it's a good race from yourself. Second place and first in qualifying. Where did that pace come from? Did you just practice extra a bit more? Was just Mexico something a track you like?
For a second. I lost it for a second. Sorry, can you repeat?
Oh, Mexico, you've qualified first. You ended up in second. Is it a track you like, that pace you suddenly found and coming up quite highly order?
To be honest, not at all. I actually thought I was going to do very bad here. It's not a track that I play at all. It's like probably bottom 5 of the tracks I've played this year and in general. But I think it's just I did practice a bit more than usual because I came from like a couple of pretty bad races, lots of mistakes, a couple of crashes, just not clean races at all. So I was kind of looking forward to get a decent race and just good pace and no mistakes. I did make one, but it was much cleaner than usual, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, good race it was. You've ended up on the podium, ended up getting second. Fantastic drive by yourself. Thank you so much. And thank you for putting on a spectacle as well, charging through the field.
Thank you, Wilton. Thank you.
And we are now going to go to your race winner of the Haas in TMC, Mr. Thomas Muller himself. TMC, fantastic drive by yourself. A race win. How are you feeling?
So we meet again.
We do meet again.
We meet again.
That's a brilliant drive by yourself. What were you thinking on the hards in going through the final laps as you could see the times coming down between yourself and between Thunder Fox?
I felt the Spanish deja vu.
Oh, you just
really? Yeah, it's like driving and the car just constantly cutting in more and more and more and more. That's for fuck's sake, Thunder scared me.
You've held on to it. Of course, Alicento didn't catch you in Spain, and Thunder Fox didn't catch you in Mexico. So you're doing something right with these tires, able to look after them. We did watch on board you going through the S's into Sector 3 and the difference in grip between you and Thunder Fox. But were you just thinking, like, what was your percentage wear at the end? Were you thinking about punctures? Were you thinking about you might not even get to the end?
I think I got into puncture territory right at the end of the last lap, so it all got calculated out, and I was like, when there is a medium soft strategy possible in Mexico during the strategy window before the start, I might as well just do the same thing as in Spain and just pit, go out, and drive.
I was gonna say, yeah, because you pitted under the first safety car, didn't you?
Yeah.
So when that came out, especially the lap 1 chaos, how did you avoid all that? Because I think did you end up, I can't remember, there's so much going on. Did you fall down the order? Did you get caught in it?
No, the lap 1 chaos was, I was 3 abreast with Fawaz and Striker. Then I dipped out of that battle because I'm not going 3-way in the first chicane in lap 1. Then I think Striker went right, and then those two were gone. And then everything behind me suddenly died. So I was like, me and Thunder were like the only 2 guys where nothing happened. Same with the safety car restart. It's like we were like invincible.
You say you can't win the race on turn 1, lap 1, but I suppose by backing out, you pretty much did. Were you thinking, especially then, going back to it, when Thunder Fox did box, he did have the time penalty, which was roughly around the 5 seconds. I don't think he cleared it at any point. Were you thinking he's thrown the race win at all when he did box? Like, did you know you had it in the bag?
No. Definitely not. No. If he didn't have the penalty, he would have caught me, because put 5 seconds away from a 3-second gap, he'd be 2 seconds in front. It was only the matter of me and Thunder, for the most part of the hard stint, were around the same lap time. So if I'd pit, I'd be 2 seconds back again, and we'd cancel each other out again. So the only matter was, okay, now I gotta stay out. Now that's the only chance.
No, it was a good decision. You got the race win, of course. A fantastic drive by yourself. Thank you very much. You looking forward to the next couple of races? I mean, I'll say it like with follow-ups, it's a bit of a stretch, but you are technically in with a chance at the title fight. Striker Boy didn't score too many points. You were only 43 points behind going into this race. A couple more race wins, you might be there. What are you thinking?
To finish first you have to finish. It's Qatar and Japan. It's very technical tracks, and considering my right hand is in a damn bandage, that's gonna be fun.
You drove Mexico in a bandage.
I took the bandage off, but it was most definitely one of the most painful races I have driven.
So you're saying you won only using a percentage of your power?
I have only used 3% of my power.
No, it is a fantastic drive. Thank you. We got to wrap this up. It's been going on for a while. No, brilliant race, TMC. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for putting on a spectacle. And congratulations on your win.
Thomas Muller has spoken.
Thomas Muller has spoken. So that has been round 10 Mexican Grand Prix for Tier 2 for the DRC F1, powered by Milestone. You can join us, of course, a link on the screen, discord.gg/digital racing. Thank you very much. Hope you have a fantastic evening and enjoyed the race as well. Goodbye.